Hi, today I'm talking about global warming. In recent years, people around the world may feel that the climate is getting steadily warmer and warmer. This is called global warming, under which Earth's surface temperature is increasing rapidly over the past century. This is the data about the global surface temperature has risen zero point 0.6 degrees Celsius to zero point 0.9 between 1906 and 2005, with rate of temperature increases doubled in the last 50 years. So there are many reasons to cause global warming, but carbon dioxide plays the most important role. There are many developing countries which have contributed huge amount of carbon dioxide, and it has made up about 70% of greenhouse gases. Most scientists are concerned about the tendency of the concentration of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. The main reason to release carbon dioxide is burning fossil fuels and cutting down carbon absorbing forests. As you can see from the picture, the carbon dioxide level have increased by 38% still to 2009, with methane level increased by 158% since industrial revolution began in the 1750 century. As a result, the Earth not only absorbed the heat of some land ocean, but also gains extra heat from carbon dioxide, which makes its surface get warmer and warmer. The global warming brings a lot of disaster to plants and animals. Last year, scientists know the worst global warming news, that is, people may have irreversible destabilized the massive ice sheet of West Antarctica, which contains the equivalent of nearly 11 feet of sea level rise. The rate of West Antarctica ice loss has been continuously increasing, so it causes people to worry about. This is a slow and long-term process of ice which could accelerate. In a newspaper in the Proceeding of the Institution of Civil Engineering, researchers said if West Antarctica collapse entirely, a process that would likely play out over centuries, but that could sustainably begin in the one. The expected 11 feet of sea level rise won't just spread out evenly across the ocean. The United States will get a lot more sea level rise than any other parts of the world. People cannot imagine how incredible of global warming will cause. Scientists have made warning that the global warming, though about 20% more permafrost than before. The study published in Nature Climate Change suggests that nearly 4 million square kilometers of frozen soil could be lost for every additional degree of global warming experienced. It is estimated that there is more carbon content in the frozen permafrost than is currently in the atmosphere. If frozen oils melt, it causes the ground to become unstable, putting roads and buildings at risk of collapse. In the study, researchers find out permafrost changes across the landscape and how this is related to the air temperature. If the temperature keeps increasing, the permafrost will disappear on the map. There are many plants that lack of nutrition and cause them cannot grow up, or some trees are broken. In recent years, these trees have been sustained in ecosystems without a lot of phosphorus in the bedrock. Climate change is expected to increase the frequency and the intensity of drought around the world. The more dust moving around in the atmosphere, the dust migration nutrients to plants is affected by global warming. Researchers observe animals' life habits, growth rate, However, some animals die or have to move their habitat, such as penguin, polar bear, they lose their home. Some migratory birds need to change their habitat and will fly far away than before they are faced with extinction. They have invariable distance to fly. Some plants also have to extinct like coral. Coral are colorful and some small fishes protected by coral's color. The temperature of sea is increasing and cause corals lose their color with turn to the white, so fish cannot be protected and they are eaten by other bigger fish. The amount of colorful fish is decreasing, the corals turn to white. People compare among countries. America has caused more global warming than any other countries. There is an analysis from the World Source Institute shows that 1850 to the year 2011, the United States produced 27% of the total carbon dioxide emissions of world. It means the amount of US carbon dioxide equal all nations of European Union combined. The geoscientist Raymond, who is studying in the University of Chicago, he found that the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere that raises the concentration to 1,500 parts per million over per industrial level. There are about 900 parts per million of carbon dioxide will still be up there after 100 years. He said concentrations will only decline to 6,175 parts per million over another 900 years. Thus, so the carbon dioxide produced less over the last 150 or 160 years, and it's still determined by our future, which means United States should be more responsible because they produce carbon dioxide earlier. However, China recently produced more carbon dioxide than United States and becoming the largest emitter. No matter which country produces carbon dioxide, each country should be responsible for global warming because the earth is our homeland, so we should protect our homeland. The global warming is a serious affection. It also changed humans' life. The natural disaster composed by flood, drought, hurricane, and so on. For example, the airplane bumps frequently is affected by global warming. There are more accidents for the airplane. The experts explain the atmosphere not as a homogeneous whole and it's separate to a serial layer, so airplanes move in different directions and at different speeds. It causes airplane bump during the flight because of the temperature change differently. The experts find out the data from 160 countries across the 50-year period from 1960 to 2010. Their average local temperature is 13 degrees Celsius. This temperature is good for agricultural productivity. The most wealthy countries have the temperature such as the US, United States, China, Japan, and France. Moreover, the countries with hot climates whose economic productivity will take a particularly hard hit from further global warming tend to already be poor, such as Africa, Southeast Asia, and South America. So there was Hurricane Beats to America in 2020. It exposed millions of people and $billions of dollars worth of economic. The global warming has global economic impact, and that impact will hit locally and ripple out by affecting supply chains, consumer behaviors, regional economics, and downstream jobs. The researchers shows one-third of all those employed work in agriculture. This share is decreasing, and the agriculture sector contributes about 3% to the overall value of the global economy. Because of the global warming, the farm applies less grains or food than before, so farmer cannot sell many food for company and it make profit for a farm decrease. The agriculture interest decline too. The economic is unbalanced that will cause the competition between city and urban. There are many people move to cities from urban when cities do not have the resources to accommodate new arrivals. This led people migrate to other countries. The government will lose revenues, new welfare demands, and the upsetting of traditional political become imbalances. America not only produces more carbon dioxide, the global warming causes American GDP's decline. Many experts believe that global warming increases the size and frequency of hurricanes. For example, in 2005, Hurricane Katrina created 125 billion in damage with 66 billion in insured losses. It caused the GDP to decline from 3.8% to 1.3%. In 2008, Hurricane Gustav and Hurricane Ike hit the USA. It caused America as much damage in economy. After the disaster, American government had to invest more money to rebuild houses for homeless people and send food for them. They also need to fix architecture and roads that were damaged, so they had to spend more money to rebuild the cities. The Department of Energy invested more money to biofuels industry to reduce greenhouse gases. It caused the food price increase 4%. The global warming is a barrier of the politicals. The climate change had affected many parts of the world. According to the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, a continuous rise in mean temperature for the rest of the century is very likely unavoidable, so this topic becomes sensitive on the political agenda. It is difficult to implement effectively. Concrete police measures was usually explained by a range of limiting factors such as ecological, economic in the developed countries. Because many countries have some kinds of limiting forces to the implementation of adaptation policies at the policymaking level. For example, the case of Switzerland, which is a highly developed country that is also terribly sensitive to climate change. In the economy and politics, they still have struggled on the process of elaborating a national adaptation for the climate change. The Donald Trump's presidential administration of principle is to deny that human activity is the primary cause of global warming. Indeed, Trump's election is a Trump of climate denial and will elevate him to the top of the Republican Party. This year, reporters found that while 85% of Democrats believe human activity has led to higher temperature, only 38% of Republicans agree. The global warming is a sensitive topic during different parties' war. As climate change, the risk of injury, illness, and death from the resulting heat waves, wildfires, intense storms, and flood rises. The nature disasters threaten people's health and safety. Drought will bring forest and pit fires, putting residents and firefighters in danger. However, a warming atmosphere also holds moisture, so the chance of extreme rainfall and flooding continues to rise in some regions with rain or snow. In many heavily populated areas, sea level rise is more likely to put people in the path of storm and flooding. If there are too much carbon dioxide in the atmosphere and with high temperature, it will causes people get chronic illness. Experts predict climate change is expected to cause approximately 25 billion additional deaths per year from malnutrition, malaria, and heat stress between 2030 and 2050. Reporter presents how to reduce greenhouse gases to improve better transport, food and energy use choices can result in improved health. So many countries should make many policies and individual choice have the potential to reduce greenhouse gas emission and produce major health benefits. People can reduce to drive fuel efficient vehicle instead of driving gas smart car. It also can save fuel money. People also can use clean power to instead of cheaper energy sources, such as solar energy, wind energy, and so on. People also need to stop to cut trees because trees can absorb carbon dioxide and supply oxygen for people. So people should protect our environment to prevent global warming become worse because this is harmful for people, for the earth. Thank you.